Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of TFT Hyper Roll from Mission for Tuition. It's called Mission for Tuition because we are trying to raise money for our son's middle and high school tuition since he has to go to a ridiculously expensive school. We don't ever ask for donations or anything like that, but we do ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. Do things like that to help the YouTube algorithm so the video gets out to more people, gets more views, makes more money for tuition. And with that said, let's get started. So every once in a while you get a game that just tells you exactly what you're going to do from the very start. And this is one of those games. 2 cats, a talon. I think we're going assassins here. In fact, I was so confident in that I didn't even buy out the first board. I just waited to see what the augments were. There was a healing augment and then, just a couple more cats just because why not? And it was a really easy decision to go forward with this. I'm likely going to try to use bodyguards as my front line and then create the perfect cat items, which starts with the Infinity Edge. Now, yes, it's true, cat has been nerfed, but those nerfs are only slight compared to how powerful she can be, especially with the right items in the right comp. So don't be afraid of going cat. The second key cat item is the Ionic Spark, because that will lower the magic resistance of anyone she jumps near. And with a needlessly large rod and a Negatron cloak, we can create it really quickly. And just like that, we have 2 of the 3 key items. And I can already hear Lizzie rolling her eyes. Yup, another assassin game. Yes, it is, because it's very, very strong. I like to use bodyguards as a front line for assassins because, 1, they get the additional armor, but also they taunt the champions that are closest to them. That keeps the aggro off of your assassins so they can do their job. The one problem with this build is it is 100% dependent on Katarina, and if she happens to go down, as she did in this case, to a Garen with a Bloodthirster, then your team's pretty much done. You're relying on her to bring it home. For the second augment, I was tempted to get the Assassin emblem, but decided I'd rather go with additional healing. I want my champions to be able to stay up longer and thus fight more. Once I get the 2-star Talon, I'm going to switch Twitch out for the Talon, because that will be stronger. Notice I've also put a Leona in, which is going to trigger the Academy buff for Cat. I also have one last piece necessary for the complete build. I've got the Sparring Glove, I just need the Tear so I can make the Hand of Justice that will give Cat a little bit more healing. And I know this video was recorded before the latest patch, but believe me, the nerfs have not changed this that much. As always, if I see a socialite, I am going to test to see where that hex is, and if it's in a good spot, I'm going to use it. And that's what happens in this case. The NPCs gave me a Tear, so I don't need that anymore to create the Hand of Justice on Cat. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a Giant's Belt because I'm going to want to make my front line a little bit tankier at some point. But it's time to complete the Cat items and then also create a Runan's Hurricane for Talon so he's hitting multiple targets. And I'm going to put these fights on hyperdrive because the plan is fairly simple. My front line holds them in place and my back line just assassinates them. I've picked up some additional assassins so I have the opportunity to go to 4, but also a Seraphine if I want to create the next level of socialite to make Cat even stronger. The key here, as it is with really any build, is to keep working the plan until the game shows you a reason to change it. Right now, this is working absolutely perfectly. My front line's holding them in place and my back line is doing complete destruction. When necessary, Tarek's coming in, healing Cat up so she can get in the final kill. The final augment popped up and it was playing directly into exactly what I wanted to do. I could grab a bodyguard emblem, put it onto Tarek, and then I will have 4 bodyguards up front. I've already put Seraphine into the back line, so I am now getting 2 socialite buff onto Cat, and also notice I am just 1 Cat away from having her up to gold. Gaining the additional mana from the second socialite buff along with just her natural mana regeneration, Cat has become unreasonably strong at this point in the match. And with our team just holding people in place, well, it's kind of gotten silly. And of course, the only thing that could make it sillier would be to get a gold Katarina, and there she is. And I've found this even easier to build in the new patch because people tend to be avoiding Katarina for no real reason. The important thing to learn here are these items: Infinity Edge, Ionic Spark, and Hand of Justice. They make her supremely powerful. For the item shop, we're going to go ahead and pick up a Giant Slayer because the one problem this team could have is if you run into things with a ton of health, the cat isn't able to cut through quickly. Her mana regeneration is dependent upon her getting a kill. If she doesn't get a kill, then she's simply trapped next to a target until she's able to cast again. Go ahead and put the Giant Slayer onto Talon so that he's doing more damage with that Runaan's Hurricane. But even at gold and with perfect itemization, Cat is not invulnerable. She is very, very susceptible to CC and or not killing her target. And when that happens, she goes down quick and your entire team is going to fall apart. And although I'm not showing it because I don't want to make the video excessively long, just showing me scanning through, it is important to scout when you're running an assassin comp because you want to get an idea of where the best place is for your champs to jump. That's going to be the key. If they jump to the wrong place and don't nail the targets they need to nail, you're going to have a lot of trouble. If they take out the carries pretty quickly, you're going to end with a lot of people left alive. And with that victory, we are not surprisingly into the top 4 and really set to go. We now have the 2-star Braum to finish out our front line of bodyguards and a Shaco to finish out the assassins. And yes, that's how I'm going to pronounce it. For the final shop, it even offers us an additional bodyguard emblem, but we don't need it. We're already at 4. So we can take the Warmogs and put it onto Leona, who's sporting the Sunfire cape so she can do more damage to people as she's protecting everyone. Then I received a text from Gary and he said, check your shop. And so I did a little rolling and I had a gift of a 2-star Akali, which will make us even stronger than we were before. And now we've managed to diversify into a few main points of damage. We have Katarina just dealing absolute massive damage with her attacks. Akali is slicing and dicing through the teams, doing damage. And of course, then there's Talon, who's just sort of putting bleeds on people along with the Giant Slayer, which is just adding more to the high health targets. Overall, this is almost impossible to overcome. Now, this is the tank team that had done so much damage to us before. Luckily, I put Echo in the right place to immediately take their Lux off the table, which gave my cat time to get in and do enough damage to take out their main damage dealers and CC, leaving me only with a Vex who still is insanely powerful, especially with 2 Titans resolves and a Sunfire cape, but Cat is able to overcome. Then we play the game of trying to guess who we're going to face next, and my guess was going to be the opposing player than the one I had just faced, even though I was facing their ghost character. So I set up to fight against this team, moving everything around so that I would be good to take out their carries, have myself protected, and ultimately win that fight. But the game had another idea and it put me against the same person. So I was not in the same position I needed to be to fight it. So this was going to be much harder because my cat was likely to be CC'd and thus taken out of the fight. The Yuumi ult provided all they needed to knock her down, and then it was Vex against pretty much my entire power of my team. But Vex, again, really strong. But luckily, Seraphine came through. We reposition again to hopefully set up for the best outcome here. I wanted to take their Yuumi off the board so that Cat could get as much damage in as possible before their Yuumi is able to CC her. That worked out really well, as Cat's able to ultimately take that cat down and then finish off the rest of their team with a huge amount of damage, sealing the victory. Pay attention to what the game is telling you. If you see a bunch of assassins, go for it. You're gonna win. Hope you enjoyed the video and have an absolutely awesome day.